Yorana, have you heard of the word MATARIʻI? We're going to talk about that today. As you all know, Polynesians followed the stars as they navigated the vast Pacific Ocean and founded all the islands of Polynesia. So why wouldn't they carry this on for all the generations? They followed it for everything, for the cycles of the stars, for the cycles of the season. So MATARIʻI, quite simply put, is the following of the constellation Pleiades, as we say in English. Pleiades can be associated with the god Oro. Polynesians believed that this constellation was Oro. And Oro, of course, we know is the god of fertility. So this was the season of fertility. How did we know that MATARIʻI Ni'a was here? So MATARIʻI Ni'a, above. We always think of above being good and below being bad, right? When we talk about legends. So MATARIʻI Ni'a, which means the constellation is above. It was the following of that constellation in the east. When it would rise in the east, at the same time the sun would set in the west. So as night would fall, that constellation would be coming up, and they knew it was the beginning of a new year or of a new season, right? So that was MATARIʻI Ni'a. MATARIʻI Ni'a meant the Oro, the god of fertility, was back on earth. And what did that mean? It was a time of abundance, a time of great celebration. The trees were growing, there were flowers, there was vegetation. The whole land was just full of life. It was a season of peace, a season of fasting, and a season of rejuvenation. At its root, the MATARIʻI Ni'a was basically a celebration of the harvest. It was a universal expression of thanks or appreciation. You guys all know who the arioi were, right? They were this group of people that were revered and held at such a high level. They were human. They were human beings like us that lived among all the people at that time, but they were seen as the reincarnation or representatives of Oro on earth. So at this time of MATARIʻI Ni'a, imagine when it was believed that Oro was back on earth, how do you think these arioi were treated? Oh my goodness, they were treated as if they were gods. And they were expected to act as such. Everywhere they went, they believed that that place was blessed with abundance or blessed with the blessings of Oro because they believed that Oro lived through them. Likewise, MATARIʻI Raro, when the constellation was not showing itself, it was down below. As the sun would go down, there was no constellation Pleiades. It laid low. Then this was a time of famine or a time of scarcity, right? There were very few flowers. There was very few vegetation. And this, ironically, is when you can find one of the hugest celebrations in the islands of Tahiti is during the Heva. Right? When do we see the Heva? When we see all these beautiful costumes made of vegetation and flowers and just these ornate costumes. It's in the month of July. Well, let's take a look. When is MATARIʻI Ni'a? The time of plenty, right? The time of celebration, the time of abundance. In Tahiti, this time starts around mid-November and it finishes about late January or maybe sometimes even into February. So it's well outside of the season of the Heva, which is in July. That's why a lot of the times when you're watching the Heva, you see the costumes they made of natural stuff, of dried items, of stuff that you can find all year long, right? But it's very few and far between that you'll see costumes decorated with lots of flowers and lots of stuff that grow only during this time. For us, we can relate the MATARIʻI Ni'a here in the United States as springtime. So think about spring and you'll know what the MATARIʻI Ni'a is. I hope this helps you. Next time you watch the Heva video, you'll wish that they had the Heva in a time of abundance, right? In the MATARIʻI Ni'a. But it is what it is. I guess they must have chosen to celebrate the French celebrations of the French culture, and the French independence is usually in July, and that's what they lean towards. So next time you look to the skies and you see that Pleiades or that MATARIʻI rising in the east as the sun is going down in the west, you'll know it's MATARIʻI Ni'a time. It's time for celebration.